If I spent 14 months in a small room with Jesus Christ himself, I'd want to fist fight with him.
Knights in Tight Spaces is a slow-paced, progression-based roguelike card battler. The game is turn-based strategy where you control knights in tight spaces. It challenges players to think long and hard about all of the combos that they can pull together using both wits and deck-building skills to navigate different obstacles. Whether diving into the story mode, tackling endless challenges, or completing the weekly events, the game offers a variety of ways to really test your mettle. Knights in Tight Spaces has really pulled off a unique concept, both visually through its trailers and with its gameplay mechanics. However, there are occasional moments when the music might cut off for long periods of time for no apparent reason, and it might take a while for it to come back, so sometimes you'll find yourself playing the game silently. This felt very disruptive as the music really did help elevate the experience, making combat feel a lot more energetic and engaging, when it isn't just ambience. Every character stood out with their monochromatic, abstract-looking designs, giving them a striking, minimalistic look but in a very complimentary way. This helps some to visually pop out against the more detailed and darker cel-shaded backgrounds, creating a dynamic visual contrast. The problem that I have with it is that it gets old pretty quickly. The only difference between enemies is their color, not their designs. Take the blacksmith for example. It's the same enemy in the same run 3 different times, but with 3 different colored hues. The combination of many intricate abilities and chain effects paired with the camera angles and engaging mechanics ensures that every action feels meaningful, allowing each character's personality to truly shine with each and every input made. For example, the Brawler is designed to be disruptive, able to knock down and immobilize enemies in close quarters, pinning them to the ground, while the Rogue is nimble, capable of striking from both long and close range. Some of the classes offer plenty of multi-class cards that allow the ability to slip in and around targets, providing abilities like shifting enemy positions and directions as well. Because each class has their own set of core ability cards unique to them, when forming a team and deck, you would want to focus on that particular class to utilize those abilities more effectively. Once again, using the Brawler as an example, they are restricted from using weapons, armor, or anything other than potions. However, with their deck, they have a lot of damage which revolves around rotating knockdowns and stomps, which is incredibly broken. Especially when you have the option to build your own deck from the very start. You can easily breeze through the entire story mode without taking a single hit or even recruiting anybody on your team, while relying on this overpowered tactic. It is genuinely the easiest way to challenge the daily leaderboard, especially when you realize that they do have some events going on in the background where you can win some cash prizes. This could be due to not having the right equipment unlocked to perform certain abilities, or perhaps you just don't have enough movement cards to position yourself effectively. As a result, you need to carefully consider long-term strategy and what you want to achieve with your build to maximize your success. The gameplay itself is challenging, but not in a way that I would consider enjoyable. More often than not, you're overwhelmed and forced to rely on a very specific tactic or style to avoid taking damage in any given turn, especially as enemies adapt to your moves. Enemies will only strike you when you are stationary in the hex that they plan to attack, or if you shift yourself out of that hex with one of the enemies. Because of this, there is a strong need for a deck specifically tailored to attacking, shifting, and avoiding. However, this makes the gameplay feel a lot more linear and less flexible, even though some of these combinations do feel very satisfying to pull off. One of the challenges is that you'll often find yourself facing the same enemies in the same rooms. You'll be persistently repeating the same levels until you eventually win, or get sent back to square one if you fail, while unlocking uninspiring meta progression. While these unlocks can make the game easier, they also strip away a lot of the strategic depth that initially made the game more engaging. It's very basic. It's not horrible by any means, but after a while it will start to feel like you're only getting a max of 1 to 2 hours of gameplay before things start to feel dull due to a lack of variety and meaningful progression, making it very hard to stay engaged for the long haul. While I'd love to say I had fun, I can only say this lasted for about an hour. After that, I grew tired of repeating the same levels with only slight variations. I stopped paying attention to the story completely, as it didn't feel interesting or rewarding for my time spent engaging in it, losing and unlocking new cards I would never realistically care to use. If you enjoy the idea of a linear deck builder that forces you to play specific objectives like surviving for 2 turns or defeating all enemies and kicking enemies out of the arena and so on, then Knights in Tight Spaces might scratch an itch for you. Though it's a bit hard to recommend to anybody looking for genuine strategy when the main focus here is chaining your combo effects with your party in very cool ways while utilizing the enemy and terrain to your advantage. While it definitely feels good and fun to play at times, there is a very strong chance that you will grow tired of it sooner than you would expect.